Blast me to Calmer's skull! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 66, Part 2, Gallery, Rules and Mission. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So we are back with issue 66. We've got a gallery of the recently painted models, so we have all our Phobos stuff now. And then we have, of course, our brand new mission. We've got some new rules to cover as well. Before that, we will go through the armies that I'll be using as well. And before that, of course, don't forget to like this video. Leave a little comment down below. I love hearing back from all of you guys. And don't forget, of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more future mad content. There is a lot coming this year. But moving on then, we have Imperium issue 66 to finish off. So let's go vertical and we'll have a look inside the magazine. So what's left in issue 66 to cover? Well, we have our final part of the Angels Left rules. So this covers the Combat Doctrines, which is a unique way of how the Space Marines go to war. So the Angels of Death is a series of abilities that make the Space Marines more effective on the battlefield. The Angels of Death rules have been split into two parts for the purpose of Imperium. This article covers the second part, the Combat Doctrines. So the Combat Doctrines are ideals that the Robute Guilliman penned in the Codex Astartes on how Space Marines can better perform on the battlefield. These were first introduced, I believe, back in the end of 6th edition, possibly 7th edition, and they were quite useful. They really helped work, and they give a nice bit of flavour to the army. So what you do is you have 3 special rules. So the Devastator Doctrine focuses more on heavy weapons and grenades. So while this doctrine is active, you increase the AP of heavy and grenade weapons by 1. Tactical Doctrine, you improve the AP of rapid fire and assault weapons by 1. And the Assault Doctrine, you improve the pistol and melee weapons AP values by 1. So how these work is during your first battle round, you have the Devastator Doctrine active. So this is the initial part of a Space Marine strike where they focus firing with the heavy weapons on far-off enemies. Then during your second battle round, you have your Tactical Doctrine activated where you're getting closer and able to aim in better with your rapid fire weapons. And then at the start of the third, you can either choose to have Tactical continue to be active or swap to the Assault Doctrine. And then from the 4th battle round onwards, the Assault Doctrine is always active. So it's pretty cool. You have some nice flexibility there on how to use these doctrines, and they do make Space Marines a little bit more deadly, especially with a lot of our weapons having no AP. It makes them a lot more dangerous. So on the back, we got a handy tutorial on when they are active. So your battle rounds. Devastator Tactical, Tactical or Assault, then Assault and Assault. Then we got all your different weapons that are affected by the doctrines, which is very helpful. So your Devastator Doctrine, you got your Bolt Sniper Rifles, the Accelerator Autocan, Frag and Crack Grenades. Tactical Doctrines, so your Marksman Bolt Carbines, your Flamestorm Gauntlets, your Bolt Rifles on your bikes, and the Oculus Carbine on your Phobos Lieutenant. And then finally for your Assault Doctrine, pretty much this is going to be the one that our armies and collection is going to be beneficial to. So the Chainsword, any close combat weapons, the Foresword, Mastercrafted Power Sword, Flamestorm Gauntlets for melee, Combat Blades, Bolt Pistols, Heavy Bolt Pistols, and the Neo Volkite Pistol. So luckily a lot of our army is made up of all the assault units, the assault intercessors and such. So when it comes to the final round, we're probably going to go round 3 straight into the Assault Doctrine so we can get up and close. Depends on how we want to play our games. But there's going to be a change, I believe, to how these work in 10th edition, so it'd be quite nice to see how they do work. There's a rumour that all doctrines will be active, but only certain units will be affected by those doctrines. So that is another conversation for another time. So we have our next battle, and it's 50 power on 2 battle mats here, 38 and 58. We got 5 objectives set in the centre of the battlefield there, deploying along the long edges. So it's a take and hold mission, so we score 5 points for each of the categories that we meet. So control 1 or more markers, we get 5 points. 2 or more markers, we get 5 points. Control more markers than the opponents, we get 5 points. So we can't score the entire objective during the first turn, because that's a little bit cheaty. Because pretty much everyone would be near enough the same points-wise. Makes it a little bit too easy to stay even. So, we have 2 close to our home deployment zone and 1 in the centre there. We also have the secondary objective, key positions. So at the end of your opponent's, each of your command phase, you score 3 additional points if you control marker 3, which is our centre marker there. And again, you can't score this one in the first battle round, so you can't teleport straight on top of it. But it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to have some nice fun setting out the terrain. I don't know if I'm going to put terrain just in the open gaps, or whether I will put a terrain feature around the actual central objective and have everything else a little bit more accessible. We'll have to wait and see how I set things up. Right, let's bring in all our brand new painted models and we'll have ourselves a little gallery session before I show you the 2 armies I'm going to be using in this battle. So first off, we've got our last 5 infiltrators. So here they are, done to the same battle ready standard as my other 5. I did do a little bit different on these guys. I used a lighter shade of wash, but I did still do the relayer, and they pretty much the same result. They did look pretty cool. Followed quite a few of the tutorials from the magazine. So the leather, the purity seals, and details such as a smoke on the smoke grenade there has been done as the magazine dictates. So I've kept these guys very minimal in the way of gold details because they are a stealthy unit. So that's pretty much the same way I used to do my Crimson Fists, who very rarely had gold on them. It used to just be captains, etc. But here we have them. We do have our communications expert there, and we've got our smoke grenade guy, and then our 3 basic troopers. So, moving on. Next up, we have our eliminators. These are our sniper specialists. As you can see, I've done these guys in the same colour scheme as the rest of my Ultramarine army, but I've done them with a snow-themed camo on their cloaks there. So this is just done by stippling, and some of them have had actual snow, so it looks like they've been sat in position for a long time, which is very fitting to the Eliminators fluff. So the only thing I didn't do was I didn't finish off the Sergeant's binoculars. I might do those at a later date because that tutorial was really quite nice and I want to try it out. But other than that, these guys are pretty much the same as the rest of the Phobos armoured Space Marines. So can't wait to see how well these guys work on the battlefield as well. Alright, moving on then to the suppressors. And finally, here we have the suppressors. These guys are a little difficult to try and get the stands to glue on, especially having painted them first and attached them afterwards. I ended up having to scrape the glue off with a knife and try again, because it just was not drying very well for some reason with the paint in the way. So I had to clear off the area a bit more and then apply some more super glue. And they've dried out pretty well now. The Sergeant luckily had his foot against the stand, which aids his support, so it makes it a lot easier for him drying. But these guys are done, again, the same as all my other intercessors. They do have the gold, as they're not as stealthy as the rest, because they are wearing the lighter version of Gravis armor. There's rumour that this particular type of armour will be the same armour that the jump assault intercessors will have. So I can't wait to see, because they're going to have the same sort of jump pack, but they'll be equipped more with melee weapons. So it'll be quite interesting to see what happens when they do come out in the near future. But they are heavy support units with jump packs and nice big guns. And as with the Eliminators, can't wait to see how these guys work on the battlefield. Right, that's all my updated models. Now let's bring in the armies for this issue's battle. So I thought I'd start a little different this time and start with the Necrons. So for my Necron force, I've got my Overlord here as my Warlord. I've got the Chronomancer there, as I love using this guy. And he's been upgraded with a Photonic Transsubjector again. I've got a big unit of 20 warriors, as they're going to be used for holding objectives. 2 squads of 5 mortals, just to fill out the extra 2 troop slots I need. Excuse me. Then elites, I've got the flayed ones, just to have a little bit in the way of a dropping in and harassing unit. I've got these Scorpec destroyers and a plasma sight. I've also got the reanimator, and because they are pretty good at denying objectives and harassing the enemy, I've got the tomb blades there again. I am really starting to like these tomb blades, and definitely going to be picking up at some point at least 4 extras, because I want 2 more with the Tesla and 2 more with the Gorse, because I think they are the better guns. But main tactic for this army is to march the warriors up to the centre and get onto the central objective, where their superior numbers can hold it, while the immortals sit back and hold the home objectives a bit more. The Tomb Blades and the Scorpex will be used to go at the opponent's lines, and the Flayed ones will just be there to do whatever's needed, chop up enemies if they find someone a bit soft to slash up. But Chronomancer will be running with warriors to keep them up alive with their 5+ invuln, and the Lord will be buffing up as much as he can, mainly bodyguarded by the immortals. But with the Space Marines now getting those tactical doctrines, things are going to be interesting, to say the least. Alright, moving on then, let's have a look at my Imperial Force. So, for my Imperial Force, I've got a Space Marine heavy army, but I have got a small detachment of Sisters here. So, for my HQs, I've got the Librarian and Lieutenant there in Phobos armour. For my troops, I've got 10 Infiltrators, 10 Assault Intercessors, and 10 Battle Sisters. So, I might be using combat squads on the Infiltrators and Assault Intercessors, as we've got quite a few objectives to cover. For my fast attack, I've just got the Suppressors, which we're going to try those out. And heavy support wise, I've got a Penitent Engine from the Battle Sisters and the Eliminator Squad. So my tactic for these guys is to sit the Eliminators back a bit and then have them drop down and sit down on the objective and snipe at the enemy as best they can. Battle Sisters are probably going to be in charge of the home objective, as they're a little bit more squishy than Space Marines. And I'm going to have the Space Marines go as far forward as possible and infiltrate the enemy lines. So I'm probably going to set up the Infiltrators and the Librarian in concealed positions. And the Suppressors, I'll probably hold off the battlefield and have them in high orbit, ready to come down. Going to be fun trying out the Combat Doctrines. It's been a while since I've used them, but it'll be quite interesting to give them a try. I'm going to have to photocopy and cut the pages out just for references, so that'd be pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Going to be a fun little mission. It's not too overpowered, but I think we got some big battles coming, so things are going to get a little more brutal. Looking forward to using Calgar. Okie dokie, that's it. I'm going to go set up the battlefield, and I'll be right back for issue 66's battle. Okie dokie, we are all deployed, and we are ready to begin our next battle. So for the Necrons, I focus the warriors and the tomb blades in the centre there, backed up by the Chronomancer. They were meant to be backed up by the Reanimator, but I got muddled up during deployment, so I deployed him over there thinking I was going to put the warriors here. Then I realised I was going to put the warriors there, so I had to leave him where he was, so he's going to have to spend most of the first turn trying to catch up to the warriors. Squads of Immortals are doing what I planned, going for the home objectives. Scorpion Destroyers are ready to sneak up the side. And the Overlord is here, backing up his bodyguard. For the Imperial forces, all the Battle Sister stuff's over there. Half the Assault Intercessors are there, the other half's there. The Librarian, Infiltrators, and the Eliminators have used concealed positions to get as close to objectives and positions of firepower as possible. And the Lieutenant and Suppressors are in Strategic Reserve, as are the Flayed Ones and the Canoptic Plasma Sight. So, before we roll off for first turn, let's have ourselves some dramatic reading. The battle below. The Imperium's advance units have reached the Necron's tomb complexes in an effort to sabotage the still functioning systems within. Canoptic constructs, previously engaged in repairing damaged stasis chambers and ruptured power conduits, now respond to the incursion alongside the menacing destroyer cults and the Overlord's own phalanxes. The cavernous depths ring with the clangor of war. Exterminate the vermin. The Overlord's armies are in the ascendancy, bringing back the humans across Kalmar's skull. Driving back the humans across Kalmar's skull. A new threat has presented itself, however. The Dolmen Gate, key to summoning Necron reinforcements, is both volatile and vulnerable. The humans must not be allowed to press through the tomb and locate the gate. Destroy the Xenotech. The Imperium's commanders know that the key to defeating the Necron lies somewhere in Kalmar's skull. Power signatures ripple out from beneath the planet's crusts. If the Xenos are to be defeated, their domain must be breached and the profane technologies within destroyed with extreme prejudice. So there we have it. Now then, to roll for first turn. I throw my dice at my models, that's helpful. So, let's see. The Necrons are going with a 6. So, do they want to go first or second? No side is really securing objectives first turn, so I'm going to go second. See how my opponent reacts and react in response. So, with that in mind, let's go with Imperium, turn 1. End of the Imperium turn 1, and we've done some pretty good advancements. We've moved everything up as best it can. The Assault Intercessors over here only got a 2 on their advance, but still the 8 inches gave them a good range into no man's land there. The Librarian and the Infiltrators moved into the ruins more. Pentine Engine did a nice big run around from his starting position to here, and was in range of the Tomb Blades, so he managed to flame them, doing 1 wound. Squad of Intercessors here are up on the top of the buildings. They could have got down over, but they wouldn't have been able to move very far afterwards. So I've just left them where the 2. Battle Sisters have taken up this position in the ruins. And the snipers on the roof there did not snipe. They tried to snipe at the Chronomancer, But even though I got 2 hits, I failed to wound. So, new model syndrome. The carbines from the intercessors did manage to wound and kill 2 immortals here. So, first blood to them. Alright, on to Necron's turn 1, and it's time for some vengeance. And I haven't changed my order on my protocols. So I think I will go with... I will keep the order actually. I'm going to go for the extra movement first turn. So yeah, Protocol of Sudden Storm is active with the +1 movement. Here we go then with Necron's turn 1. Okay, end of Necron turn 1, and we've got a couple morale tests to take, but first the turn. So, Tomb Blades zipped forward on top of the building to gain aerial shots down at the infiltrators. The warriors move forward with their mighty 7 movement, thanks to the Overlord and Protocol of Sudden Storm. And they got quite a few guys in range, so I had 6 Reapers and 6 Flayers actually. So that's a pretty good amount of guys each way, so 12 shots each way. I think it was 5 Reapers and 6 Flayers, that was it. And I managed to kill a total of 4 infiltrators and wounding a 5th. So they are going to need a morale test. 4 plus 4 is 8, and the sergeant is 8, who's still alive. Yeah, so they are fine. Whew! That's our first morale test done. The Immortals shot at the Penting engine, scoring a single wound, thanks to a lot of 5-up ignores. And I did nothing from him, but I did 1 wound from the Reanimator. So yeah, pretty good for that. I think that's a point actually. Hang on, I'll double check the damage on that. Was it 1 or was it multiple? Yeah, there's only 1 damage, so that's fine. Yeah, other than that, the Immortals shot and failed to do anything to the Eliminators. I failed to even get a wound on them. And then the Tomb Blades shot down into the infiltrators as well, which helped kill the guy that had 1 wound. So, and putting another wound on another guy. That was pretty much it for the shooting phase. Charge phase though, the Scorpion Destroyers with a command reroll managed to get into the Assault Intercessors. They could have made it without the reroll, but I managed to get 2 extra inches on there, so that's pretty cool. Got into charge, and they chopped up the Assault Intercessors, killing 4 of them, leaving the 1 guy on his own. Let's take a morale test. He is fine, luckily. So we can remove that. He did, though, get revenge and did a single damage to the Scorpion Destroyers in return. So, on to Imperium. Turn 2, and we can start scoring points now. So, I'll be right back. Okay, end of Imperium turn 2. In the command phase, we gained a command point, and we scored 15 points for holding... for maximum we can score for this round, which is holding 3 objectives. So we scored all of the available points, so holding 1, holding 2, and then holding all on the opponent. And we also held the central objective, so that scored us a bonus 3 points. So putting us at 18 for the moment. On to the movement phase. So the Assault Intercessors climbed up and over the crate. over here, the remaining assault intercessor fell back over there. And that was pretty much it. Oh, the Pentium engine moved over, ready to charge the warriors. Shooting phase then, the assault intercessors tried to soften up the tomb blades, but didn't do any damage. The Pentium engine only scored 2 on its flamer, and the infiltrators also shot the warriors and managed to kill 2 of them. The Eliminators shot down at the Scorpion Destroyers, killing 1, and that's everything they managed to do. Still, they've managed to reduce the number, at least. Battle Sisters have held strong on the objective. Moving on to the fight phase and charge phase. So the Pentium engine charged the warriors, and in the ensuing fight phase only managed to kill 1. The Librarian, on the other hand, killed 2 of the Tomb Blades, while the Infiltrators killed none. So, moving on then to Necrons, turn 2. And it's time to push back and score some valuable points. So, end of Necron turn 2. And things have gone a little bit better. The Pentium engine is still stubborn and refuses to die, so he's got 1 wound left there. Scorpion Destroyers charged and chopped up 2 of the Eliminators. The Immortals climbed the building and shot the Assault Intercessors that are coming their way. The Overlords retreated a little bit onto the objective. Haven't brought in any more reinforcements yet, as still waiting to see where it's needed. We do have a morale test to do here and here, so I don't think the Tomb Blade can fail. Nope, he's fine on the 7. But he is only on 1 wound, so he's not going to last too much longer. And then we got this guy. Ooh, 8. That is just fine. So he's okay. Oh, and we got the Assault Intercessors. So they could fail, because they lost 3. And they do fail. Ouch. So 1 disappears, and that means the Sergeant needs a combat attrition test. Phew, even with the -1 for under half strength, they pass. So, Necrons did score 10 points because they only controlled the 2 objectives, so they are in the position though to overrun the enemy positions and start scoring some more points in turn 3. So, speaking of, let's begin the Imperium turn 3. End of Imperium turn 3. The Suppressors and the Lieutenant drop down at the back corner there, ready to shoot at the Scorpion Destroyers, which the Eliminator fell back from in order to free him up. The last Tomb Blade died to the Psychic phase thanks to Smite, so the Infiltrators consolidated downwards just to face a huge horde of warriors who killed the Pentium engine in their own turn. The lone surviving Assault Intercessor there decided to gutsily charge the Immortals, which worked out. He did kill 1 of them, but he took a wound back in return. And the 2 Scorpion Destroyers did not survive the hail from the Suppressors, as they scored 8 out of their 9 shots, and scored 7 out of 7 for the wounds. Didn't even need a reroll from the Lieutenant. So, the Space Marines only managed to score 2 points for holding objectives. So we held that one and that one at our command phase. And we also did score bonus 3 for holding the central one as well. But the Necrons are now in a position to really take things back, and it's their turn. So here we go then with Necrons turn 3. End of the Necrons turn 3, and they have turned the tide pretty much for their own victory. They've eliminated a lot of the Ultramarines, so starting from the shooting phase, the last Assault Intercessor over here died, the Librarian died from the Doomstalker, not Doomstalker, Reanimator, and we lost a good amount of the Infiltrators, but they died to the ensuing fight phase. And they finally, in the fight phase, the last two Infiltrators died and the last Assault Intercessor over there died. So, yeah, it's not looking like the Space Marines will score many more objectives. They are still going to hold their home two, and that's going to be about it. So, we'll go into turn 4. I'll try to do the math and figure out if it's worth continuing. So, here we go then, with Imperium turn 4. End of the Imperium turn 4, and yeah, I'm calling it quits there because the Necrons will score 18 points in the next turn, which pushes them way ahead of the Ultramarines, and I don't think there's any chance they have of pulling that back. So, really fun game. Got to try out all the new Phobos stuff now, and I quite liked a lot of them. The Suppressors really pulled off the late game win. They could have done a lot better if they deployed first turn. The Eliminators are good in concealed positions. Excuse me. Getting into a position where they could snipe at the enemy. Sadly, I didn't get much chance to snipe away characters because I ended up getting in combat, so I don't want to deploy them too far forward because otherwise they're going to just die fairly easy. So keep them back at the far end of my deployment zone would be the best bet for them, providing I've got somewhere to actually keep them in cover. But that will have to be it for this game. So yeah, like I say, really fun game. Didn't make much use of my miracle dice because the sisters didn't really benefit much from it. They were always sitting back holding the objective there, so they never really got the chance to use their dice. But it's always fun taking the sisters to battle regardless. So yeah, Necrons would have just brought the flayed ones in and the plasma sight just to annoy the opponent's objectives. Plasma sight would have died at the end of the turn, but still. So yeah, they would have definitely scored a few more extra points in turn 5 and pushed them right ahead. So before I say goodbye, what are we getting in our next Imperium? And it's a good one. We are finally getting Tesseract Glow, which is the glowing paint to make all our Necrons really start to come to life. And we also get White Scar to help add some finishing details to a lot of our other models, so our sisters, Ultramarines, and our Admech, and even the Necrons. So we got a really nice detailed painting guide. We learn all about the holy orders of the Adeptus Mechanicus and some new rules for those guys. And finally, in 68, we get our third and final Canoptic Wraith. We have brand new Theatre of War fold-out, new Necron characters, background, and we also have Necron Warlord traits. So, some good stuff coming up. But there we have it. All that's left for me to say is thank you all for watching. If you think I deserve it, please give the video a like and leave a comment down below. I love to hear back from you. It goes a long way to help the channel. And thank you very much. I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.